Moving and living abroad alone or as a couple is so much easier. If it somehow doesn't work out, you can always return home and start from scratch again. We have done this a couple of times. But what if you have kids? Is it a good idea to move and live abroad? In this video, we are going to discuss several pros and cons when moving and living abroad with kids.
But first, let's introduce ourselves and explain why we are making videos on moving and living abroad. I am Monico and this is
Matt.
And we are currently living in the Netherlands. However, we used to live in different countries before, alone and as a couple. While we enjoy living in the Netherlands, we have come to a point where we want to move again, but this time together with our 7-year-old son. If you have similar dreams and you want to move to a different country with your kids too, then consider subscribing to our channel where you can find practical tips on living abroad as a family. And if you want to keep updated, please click the notification button below this video.
So, whether you need to relocate to another country for work, or you have decided to make the leap and move abroad for a better quality of life, you will soon ask yourself, how is this going to impact my child? When we are thinking about moving abroad with our son, the first question that comes up is, how about school? What kind of school will he be going to? Keep in mind that as a family, the choice of relocation is somewhat limited than if you are going to live abroad alone or as a couple. International schools are often located in and around cities or in areas where there are a lot of expats.
So if you picture yourself living along a tropical beach or somewhere in the mountains, where the first major town is about an hour or more drive away, then you need to change your dreams slightly if you have children, of course. And depending on the country, you can wonder if the local school is also a very good choice. Or are you thinking of homeschooling, which might be a very good option too nowadays. The advantage of homeschooling is that you don't have to stick in one country, but have the freedom to move around as much as you like.
The language is another point you will have to consider as well, right? As an adult, it's going to be something you will need to focus on. But how about the kids?
Generally speaking, children pick up foreign languages quite quicker. I remember that within a couple of months, I switched from English to Dutch. But that said, you should not assume straight away that your child will pick up the language easily. We are unsure how our son will be. For a few years, we tried to teach him English, but he refuses to join in, even though we have English-speaking friends. But luckily, now at school, he is starting to learn English. And in his case, if his friends are learning, he gets more enthusiastic. So to be honest, we have no idea how quickly our son will pick up a new language. So, schooling and learning a new language are things that as parents you need to figure out. But when moving and living abroad with kids, you need to be aware of all the other pros and cons too.
So let's start with the pros. First of all, lower cost of living. If you move to a country for a better quality of life, you are probably able to work less, so you will be able to spend more time seeing your kids grow up. Additionally, you can do other fun stuff, like weekend hiking, going to the beach after school, or whatever you want to do together with your kids. This is probably the #1 reason for us that we want to move abroad with our son.
Secondly, international school usually has a more family-oriented culture. Expat families will usually support each other and you will feel more part of a community than you would at home. I remember when I went to an international school, there were all kinds of events such as International Day, where everybody would go to school in their traditional clothing. Or we would also hang out with other families on the weekends whose children were going to international school too.
Moving abroad, of course, doesn't only come with positive sides. So let's focus on the cons. Schools will have different etiquette and requirements. The curriculum is probably different than what your child is used to. So he or she will need to adjust and probably need to take those extra lessons. Perhaps your child will be lagging behind initially, something you would not expect.
I remember moving from Australia to Kuala Lumpur, where I went from a local school to an American international school. I had to follow extra lessons to get rid of my Australian accent. Additionally, while primary and high school in your own country is free, such as here in the Netherlands, this will not be the case abroad.
Another point you should keep in mind is that the academic standards can be different. I have noticed that people who return to the Netherlands with somewhat older children, they have gone to high school abroad and they want to continue in the Netherlands, but they have difficulty having their education level acknowledged. In many cases, the Dutch educational system doesn't recognize certificates as being on the same level. Something I think is non-reasonable, but you can't fight it.
The last point, which is kind of discussed already, is different communication. Not only is living abroad totally different than the life your son or daughter is used to, he or she might have to learn a new language, but on top of that, your child will need to learn the subtle ways people communicate. Non-verbal and verbal ways of communication can be very different due to cultural differences.
So, what is the best way to prepare for moving and living abroad with your kids? Ask people who have done it. We have never lived abroad with our son before, so we have to prepare ourselves as best as possible. So, we're going to hunt online, search for expat family Facebook groups, meet up with people abroad, who have kids, and we're going to read as much information about it as possible. And we especially are interested in, a lot of countries that are on our list, right? As you can imagine, we have a lot to figure out.
Remember, you cannot plan everything in detail. You also just have to trust yourself that you will be able to deal with whatever obstacles you are facing once they arise. But for now, we are going to gather as much information on how to prepare for our move with our son, and most importantly, we will share everything we learn with you.
So, if you are thinking or planning your move abroad with your kids, subscribe to our channel so you can see more videos on this topic. You can also share your pros and cons in the comments below. And we would love to read what your thoughts are as a parent, so we can learn from you too. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in one of our next videos. Bye!
Bye-bye!